Okay, guys, so welcome everyone. Welcome to another meeting of Movies for the Inner Work. And this activity is a kind of a sub activity of another group that is called the Esoteric Circle. So before we start with our movie presentation, we have here Peter, who actually started this Esoteric Circle channel. And here we have a few people who might not be familiar with this work of this particular group. So Peter, could you please just outline the purpose of this group, what we are doing during our meetings and stuff like that for the people who are here, but also for new people who might be watching it later on YouTube?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. Welcome, everybody. And as Eric said, I'm Pete Haskins, and this channel is basically I liken it to like a campfire on the side of a path, and people are just stopping by and finding rest and finding people who are on this journey together, and really just being able to look through some of the esoteric studies that go deeper than what the organized church dives into. So I'm interested in sharing the things about esoteric Christianity, Orthodoxy in particular, and fourth way Christianity, and a little bit of Gnosticism. But in particular, the sharing a lot of the teachings of two of my mentors, Charles Ashton and Robin Amos. So they were both deeply involved in Orthodoxy, and sharing some of the details of the inner work, which, as Ark says, is just so much. There's so much that is not known about what true Christianity is all about, and there's a hidden inner church that is very similar to Buddhism and Hinduism and Judaism, and there has been a lost church, a lost teaching, and this is the inner teaching, which talks about how to meditate. And I grew up in the Protestant church here in America, and knew nothing about this until I met an Orthodox mystic named Charles Ashton. So that's what this is. We're just sharing a lot of things about Orthodoxy, and especially Fourth Way. Ouspensky is one of my favorites. So we just really dive into Moraviev and the early church fathers. So that's it in a nutshell.
Good, good. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, so I just want to tell you that this particular movie is coming out of the Tibetan Buddhist context. And this movie and the next one that we will be watching the next time, maybe a month from now or something like that, there is this common theme among those two movies that they actually deal with some kind of demonic possession, so kind of relationship between people and demons, and the outer world and the world, the realm of demons. And it also shows a lot of especially this movie talks a lot of spiritual delusion, which is in the Orthodox Church. There is this term called prelest. Have you heard about it, Pete? Yeah, so it basically means spiritual delusion. When a person starts chasing spiritual experiences rather than taking care of his inner soul, of his inner development. And that's really, really harmful. Pete, so what is your definition of prelest? Like, how do you understand that?
Yeah, very, very similar to what you're talking about here, and it's deeply connected to in what we're doing here in terms of discernment, and really being able to develop that sense of being able to tell truth from false, and that is one of the marks of evolution in the work, is being able to figure this stuff out and being able to discern. And we see a lot of that in our world today in terms of trying to figure out a lot of the what's right, what's wrong. So this is fascinating stuff. I'm looking forward to watching this.
Good, good. So now I just want to give you a little bit of a background of this movie, and then we will start watching it. Now, I just want to tell you that we'll be stopping every like 20, 25 minutes because this movie has lots of dots that needed to be connected, and it took me about 3 times of watching it to connect everything. So you will be really, really lucky. Like I can actually guide you through this movie. And the beginning of the movie is in Tibet, or in some kind of Tibetan region in the 19th century. And it actually starts with a band of robbers. And we understand that those people were actually poor peasants, and they actually ran from their landlords, who were quite cruel. And now they decided to form this kind of a gang. But they do have particular code of honor. So, for example, they do not kill their victims; they just rob them, and some other things. They have good communication, good relationship of camaraderie among them. But then something happens, and you will see what happens. So when they rob one of the groups of merchants or something like that, there is this mask that falls down, a mask of a demon, because in Tibetan Buddhism, you have different kinds of demons. So that actually are considered to be protectors, and they are worshipped in certain ways and stuff like that as protectors. So and then we have this mysterious woman who coming out and meets the leader of this gang, and that's actually the beginning of the story. So we are going to delve into this movie, and we are going to stop in about 25 minutes just to summarize what we have seen, to discuss a little bit, and then we will move on. So I'm going to just to start it on YouTube, but you will just tell me if you can see it and hear it. Just a moment. Okay, guys. So this break is going to be very short. I just want to summarize a little bit what we have seen so far, so that if someone kind of lost track, will know. And I also want to point out that I don't know if you noticed that the song that she sang while bathing herself was the song that she copied from that shepherd girl who she passed. Did you notice that? Like, Peter, you are muted, and Ellie, you're muted as well.
I didn't notice that. But
yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah. So you remember when they rode the horses, so they passed this shepherd girl who was singing. Now she copied this song from her. It was exactly the same song. I will just read to you the summary, which there is one blog, a very good blog about this movie, who I just printed it out. So and then we will just continue. So the film opens with a group of bandits robbing caravans on Silk Road. Eventually, we find out that oppression from rich landlords in their native lands pushed them into this life of crime. We were outcasts before we were outlaws, explains the group leader, Jalan. They do not enjoy crime, and they have certain code of honor. They do not kill the robbed, just take their luxury trade items, steel, gold, perfumes, minerals, etc., and sell them later. The latest caravan leaves something more behind, however, a mysterious woman named Ushna. She does not respond when being shunned away by the group, and only speaks when she sees Jalan. Yeah, you could have also noticed that, or if you watch it another time, that other people will try to approach her, but she knows exactly. She says, "You are the one who I saw in my dreams." So she just wants him, no one else. You are the one I have seen in my dreams. Take me with you. To the surprise of his comrades, Jalan is intrigued by her beauty and takes Kushna with them. She becomes part of the band and helps them out by revealing where other Silk Road's paths are, with more caravans to rob. One day, Jalan secretly watches Kushna dressing in women's clothing, as she has been shamelessly, quote, wearing men's clothing before, and hears her singing. It is then that he starts falling in love with her. Okay, and then so we'll proceed. Do you have any more questions or any more thoughts to share before we proceed?
No, ready to go.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Can you hear me? Well, a couple of questions actually. When is this set? What era?
It is set in Tibet or in Ladakh, somewhere in Tibetan region in the 19th century.
Okay, I just saw they looked like they had quite modern guns. I wasn't quite sure. And just one other question. I don't know if anybody else is having this problem, but the voices aren't particularly well synced with the film, and so I sometimes it's hard to know who's talking. Is anybody else having that problem?
I don't know, but I think that the subtitles are quite clear. Like, have you noticed anything like that, guys?
Yeah, sometimes the sync between the person that is talking and the voice is a little, not.
Yeah.
Not enough to throw it off for me.
Yeah, it's the same for me as well. Yeah, and we will also read the summary anyway after each scene. Now, look, guys, now you will see now the next scene is a very special character here in the movie that we haven't encountered yet. He's called Yeti. And Yeti originally is a kind of a snowman in the, like kind of a, ancient, like a caveman in the Himalayan mountains. But here, actually, Yeti is a character that represents the universal law, the karma, the universal balance. So, and right now in the next scene, we will see this karma, this guy who represents karma, and you will see he has much more to say as the movie proceeds, surrounded by the people robbed by this gang, who actually complain to this guy Yeti about this gang. And then Yeti kind of decides that that's enough. The balance has been overturned. We need to restore the balance. So let's continue. So guys, I just wanted to point out two things. First of all, if you noticed, when they showed the cave of Yeti, of Karma, there were chained people there. So basically, it's a metaphor that, because he also represents kind of universal law, kind of an illusion in which people live. And part of it is just to chain people to this particular material existence. So, so that's, in my opinion, that's just genius, from this director, just to depict it like that. Like you have this karma, cave of karma, and you have chained people there. It's unbelievable. And then also this ritual where he had this kind of a horn, trumpeting into this horn. It's a ritual for bringing demons back, like to demons who escaped, bringing them back. You will see as the movie continues, but that's the significance of these particular rituals, to return the demons who escaped. And also, just notice that Ushna told him, I know Yeti's ways. So she has very special relationship with karma, with Yeti. Just notice this sentence and you will understand more how it works as the movie continues. So let's continue. Do you have any more questions, by the way? No? Okay. You like it so far? Good.
Yeah. Sorry, I was muted.
Good. So let's continue. Okay, guys, so another very, very short break. So basically from now, something really, really special begins, because up to now, they have been robbing like material goods. But now their greed gets bigger and bigger. So now they are proceeding towards robbing spiritual goods. You will see exactly how it works. And here, basically, the downfall of Jalan starts, the real downfall, the real deterioration. Because here, basically, he gets into this delusion of going after spiritual powers without being ready. And I think it is a genius move on the part of the director, how he depicted it. So, and also, I wanted to tell you that, this scene when he thought that someone was with Ushna, was making love to Ushna, and there was no one there. But we might see it as something, as a kind of a trick just to make him jealous. And jealousy is one of the passions that also will deteriorate him later on. So, but you will see now begins something really, really special, robbing spiritual goods from people, really deterioration of ethics. So let's continue. Okay, guys, yeah, we'll continue very, very soon. Really short break. I just want to tell you that, you know, every time I watch it, I think it's just the story of every one of us, you know, this subtle temptation, you know, it's really, really subtle, getting into illusion, and pretty much, like, in my opinion, it's the story of everyone. Like, the context is different, but this subtle delusion, you go one step down and another step down and another step down, and all because of your inner, you know, temptations, your inner passions. Like, what do you guys think? You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate that, because it's at least in the Orthodox, one of my favorite Orthodox icons, there's this the ladder with all the, you know, the initiates crawling up the ladder, and so few of them make it to the very top. They are always getting knocked off. This is such a narrow path, as Christ says, and this is no matter what place you're on in the journey, you're never quite safe. And we talked about that yesterday in our group. You know, you have to be very, very vigilant.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so I will just summarize what we have seen so far, because we still have a long way to go. So, okay. So that night, instead of taking her in the darkness of the tent, as he had been, he explores her body in detail. Jalan notices she doesn't possess her center of the universe, quote, the navel, leading him to guess how she could have been born like that. Her vast knowledge of the Himalayas, strange habits, mysterious past, and lack of navel are first few clues that she is not just a lost woman. Jalan becomes so blinded with passion for her, however, that he doesn't question anything she does or suggests anymore. He allows her to lead the band through a very difficult passage away from their usual robbing areas. At the same time, a mysterious old man that people call Yeti starts pursuing the band and seems to be very interested in Ushna and Jalan's relationship. Jalan and Ushna are seeking an astrologist in a mountain village to tell their fortune. The mystic explains that there is not a future for them together, but Ushna does not want to give in to destiny. She performs a ritual to steal luck from other people, even though the astrologist warns them that robbing other people's luck will not take you further. They go into the mountains seeking more non-material treasures, where an ascetic yogi has mastered the power of levitation. They steal his power by showing him a mirror. The ultimate goal in many Hindu and Buddhist meditation tradition is the state of losing oneself, quote, and realization that there is no you, quote. Therefore, by showing the mirror, they reminded yogi of his own existence. Jalan's companions are not happy with their new methods, and Jalan's right hand, Jampa, confronts him about it. We can tell that Jampa is not unhappy just because they broke is not unhappy just because they broke their code of honor and brotherhood, but he is also envious of Ushna, whom he has had an eye for since the beginning. Jalan understands this ulterior motive, and in a momentary of blind rage, he shoots Jampa dead. The rest of band abandons him and Ushna, but Jalan's reason. Okay, so then we're going to watch that. I just want to point your attention that you know, before that they had some kind of code of honor, like not to rob, but now he has no problem just going into village where simple people live and rob them of their luck. So we can see actually really a lot of moral deterioration because of this passion. Just wanted to point that out. And that's, in my opinion, that's pretty much our story every one of us. Okay, so let's continue. Okay. Okay, guys. So we have to discuss a few things here, and then we will proceed. So first of all, why do you think Ushna died, even though she drank this elixir of immortality? What are your ideas about that?
Well, she's already special, isn't she? In some way.
Yeah, yeah.
I think she's not human. She's something else. Because they said at first that when she was in the first caravan, she didn't eat and she didn't drink days. And then he discovers that she doesn't have a
belly button. Yeah.
Yes, belly button. So, and she's kind of, she has something.
Yeah. Also, when I don't know if you noticed, but when astrologers checked her palms, she had almost no lines there. Yeah. So definitely, yeah. So we can pretty much at that point we can pretty much understand that she's coming from some other realm, and basically this elixir worked the opposite. So Jalan became immortal, but for her, she did become mortal, drinking that, because that's the opposite. So I'm just going to summarize what we have seen for now, and then this Yeti guy, he's a very interesting character, and at some point he says, reality is caused by alcoholic deficiency. Now that's a metaphor. Maybe we can discuss it in the end, but I personally think that alcohol here represents some kind of an illusion. So when you are some kind of sleep, spiritual sleep, so when you are not sleeping, when you are without alcohol, you can see the reality. But then basically he offers other people to drink. But so I think it's his purpose, like by being karma, by being kind of maintainer of this universe, he needs people sleeping somehow in order for things to work as they should work. So he says on the one hand, he says reality is caused by alcoholic deficiency, so let's drink. I think that's an interesting idea. So what do you guys think before we move on about that particular point? How do you understand that?
Reminds me of a quote by Tom Waits when he said, reality is for people who can't handle drugs. Something like that. Yeah, it is an interesting quote. I don't know, Eric. I'll have to.
Yeah. So it's a metaphor for something, and actually in this article they do refer to that. Okay, so we can talk about it later. But anyway, so I will just summarize what we have seen, and then we will proceed, because now there will be a very, very interesting twist, in my opinion. So so Ushna, it's not about who you listen. There was a quote there of Jalan that we missed because there was some certain stretch there without subtitles. And he says, it's not about who you live with, but who you can't live without. And he basically means Ushna, that he cannot live without her anymore. And then it says, Yeti closes in on them. However, and the lovers get separated when Jalan falls off a bridge into a river during the fight. Ushna escapes, but then confronts Yeti in his tent, asking about Jalan. More is revealed about the supernatural nature of Ushna in this scene, as Yeti says to her, your form of sensual beauty is not enough to make Jalan yours. Do you remember, guys, this sentence? Yeah, absolutely. Very good sentence. Yeti tries to perform a ritual, but Ushna escapes before he can finish. Jalan survives the fall and doesn't drown, possibly because of the luck he previously stole. Remember, they stole the luck from people, right? And then there was this monk saying he's a lucky bastard or something like that. So that's the connection, because previously they had stolen the luck from people. He wakes up in a Buddhist monastery and soon reunites with Ushna. She tells him about a valley of flowers, a place where they can be together. Okay, but Jalan has another plan. In the monastery, he heard about the valley of silence and the yogi Atman who makes an elixir of immortality. Jalan and Ushna steal the elixir, drinking, and in the morning wake up to see a lot of guns pointed at them. Yeti, his comrades, and other people who have been robbed by the lovers corner them together. Yeti tries to use a damaru, a Tibetan drum, and a kangling, a horn made out of human thigh bone, to perform the ritual. But he cannot perform the ritual since nothing but human voices are heard in the Valley of Silence. You remember? So therefore, he could not perform the ritual and create those sounds to take Ushna back. Laughing at Yeti's failure and showing off his newly gained immortality, Jalan tells Ushna to shoot him. Ushna shoots Jalan, and then he shoots her. But to his surprise, she falls down dead, while he is left in an immortal body. Yeti explains to him, my intention was never to kill you. And even if it was, I can think of no worse punishment than to let you live forever. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue. Unless, do you have any more questions, guys, at this point?
No.
No, okay. So let's continue. Okay, guys. So how do you feel? What's your general impression from this movie? You can unmute yourself. Yeah, you're muted, guys. Yeah, Ellie, you're still muted.
Very good. I loved it.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
I really enjoyed the idea that karma has a job, that karma has a specific task to not destroy us, but to continue to bring us back so we learn how to evolve to a higher state of being. That it's not, that nothing is really out there. Even the general law, which we talk about in the esoteric work, is out to kill us. But its job is to kill us. It's just the paradox of it, and there's nothing out there that's out there to try to annihilate me, even though that's its job, but it's there to help get me through all the suffering. I love how when she said, she's like, I'm tired of being here. I've been here 5 times and I'm tired of this.
Yeah, because
and I get that.
It's just not her realm. Yeah, guys. So I just want to finish reading for you the summary, so that, because maybe someone has lost the track, so I just and it might help to all of us, and then we can discuss a few things. So it actually starts from the point where she killed Ushna the first time. So Jalan performs a ritual burial for Ushna by cremating her and starts his walking. We see him walking through the ages, and the story continues into modern day Tokyo. There, a controversial Indian doctor is practicing euthanasia. Jalan ends up on TV news when he jumps off a 62-story building and lives. A female singer, Sayuri, sees the news and finds Jalan in a police station. He is about to be taken to a mental hospital, but she takes him into her care to get him out instead. Jalan is about to depart in a metro station to the airport when he recognizes that Sayuri is an incarnation of Ushna, and the lovers are reunited. Sayuri explains how she was suffering in samsara, the cycle of death and rebirth, being born each time with no memories of past life, but one, a memory of her life. This is her 5th incarnation, and she is tired of her suffering. Jalan suggests immortality to her as he had saved the elixir from Atman, the yogi. They both drink it near a Buddhist temple. However, in the morning, they awaken to see Yeti again. They run from him only to be hit by a truck transporting flowers. Sayuri / Ushna gets up unharmed, but Jalan, having drunk the elixir again, lost his immortality and is dead. So did you get this, guys, that he basically lost his immortality by drinking it again, right?
Why did he drink it again?
That's the big question, I think, because actually
there was no need.
He probably didn't get it that it works like that. But Ushna, because she knows of the spiritual laws, she knew that. She probably knew that, but then she might have wanted to help him. That's my explanation. Because then Yeti, in the end, told her, your love is your sacrifice. So basically, she sacrificed him maybe to help him continue in his involvement or something like that. And thus, she earned some kind of glimpse of real love. That's how I get it. That's how I get it. So basically, she knew about that, but she just helped him, and it was her sacrifice. And then she also upgraded her being this way. Because we can see that her being is quite unsophisticated, like throughout most of the movie. Like she just raises lots of passion, and she knows many things. She helps them rob better, and to rob other people of their spiritual gifts and stuff like that. So my understanding is that towards the end, she basically upgraded her being by actually sacrificing him for something higher. Unless you have any other ideas, guys. So what do you think?
And can I just clarify what happened at the end when he was using the drum? Did he kind of banish her back to the realms from where she came? Or I didn't quite get that bit.
Yeah, because in the beginning we saw this scene where they robbed this caravan, and one of the items of their loot was this the same mask of this demon. It's a kind of a ritual mask, and then there appeared Ushna for the first time, and then this really. So she wasn't from that realm, but we understand it gradually. Like every time we discover something new, why she wasn't from here. Like she didn't have the belly button. She didn't have lines on her palms when she came to the astrologer. She knew everything, like that no woman could possibly, like all the routes where caravans came. And then she also used her powers in order to rob other peoples of their luck, and also to rob those yogis from the elixir, like the ability to levitate. Like she knew everything, but it was pretty much it was basically based on passion. So in my opinion, it wasn't really sophisticated. Like it was just a demonic behavior. But then towards the end, I think she really got something more like spiritual or more human, like upgraded her being by sacrificing Jalan, and actually while knowing that she would get, but she still allowed him to drink it. That's how I understand. Do you have any more ideas, guys, about that?
I also want to say, doesn't any of the death that happens for the human, doesn't it want to say that it is a death of the ego, and again, it is again a rebirth? Any death is a rebirth. I thought that it also wants to say that one.
Yes. So probably they knew that Jalan, by dying, she's going to be, especially in the vicinity of karma, that is a kind of a universal wisdom. Probably he might get more chances to continue his evolution in a more successful way, because so far he hasn't been very successful in his. He was just chasing after powers, and then after that he continued this obsession with death by performing euthanasia and stuff like that. So I don't think he was very successful on his path. So probably he might be more successful now in his future life or something like that. Do you have any
And
ideas?
didn't Yeti when he shot when Jalan shot sorry, her name escapes me.
Ushna.
Oh, Ushna, excuse me. When he and then she dies for real. Yeti says, "You know nothing," didn't he? To him?
Yeah. That's exactly what he said. You know nothing, or you understand nothing, something like that.
Yeah. So he was sort of living. Yeah, he and well, he wasn't really learning that much. Really, he was still suffering, wasn't he?
Yeah. You
in
mean
this immortal existence.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually what Yeti told him, that I know I cannot think of any worse punishment than for you to live eternally. And then he was just keeping this memory of Ushna, that he had killed her. So yeah. And then he continued, like he named his company the Valley of Flowers. Yeah. So it shows very, very subtle karmic ways how things, how one thing resembles the other thing, but not exactly like that. So it's, there are lots of subtleties here. Yeah. Anyway, so then I will just finish here. So they both drink it near a Buddhist temple. However, in the morning they awaken to see Yeti again. They run from him only to be hit by a truck transporting flowers. Sayuri Ushna gets up unharmed, but Jalan, having drunk the elixir again, lost his immortality and is dead. Sayuri returns to Yeti in tears, and he finally performs his ritual. When the fog clears, we see that all that is left of her is the stone face of the demon, the same one we see in the beginning of the movie when it falls from one of the bags in a caravan. Yeti takes it to the shore of the ocean, where we see two statues guarding a torii, the traditional Shinto and sometimes Buddhist shrine entrance. Yeti places the demon face on the statue that had been missing it, and leaves the place with the overwhelming sound of ocean in the background. And then there is this kind of a commentary on that. So the fatal love story between Jalan and Ushna has a Buddhist teaching. Ushna, an immortal creature, broke the laws of nature by pursuing love with the mortal. We can see how Jalan is corrupted step by step, and how he changes. First, he feels desire for Ushna, which leads to attachment. Then he starts feeling deep passion for her, but only after seeing her naked body in the light and hearing her sing. He falls in love with an illusion. However, since Ushna's physical form is not real, nor is her singing, which she copied from a female shepherd in the mountains, Jalan compromises his code of honor when he begins to steal the vital energy of innocent mountain shepherds and rob people of their luck. Eventually, blinded by jealousy, he shoots his best friend. In a single shot, you have blown 25 years of our past, our history. Don't do the same with the future, Hakchi tells Jalan after the event. However, Jalan is burning with passion and cannot focus or think clearly. This burning, quote, is symbolically encoded in their names. Ushna says her name means fire. Though I did not find exact etymology, she mentions Aga, which is close to Agni, god of fire in Hindu religion. And in Urdu, Ushna means fragrance of a flower, which is also connected to the movie. And Jalan means flame. Ushna's fire made Jalan burn in passion and jealousy. The word jealousy is also connected to the etymology of Jalan. Passion and peace can never live together, says Yeti. And indeed, neither character can find peace in their life or in their mind. Fighting dharma makes the universe works against you. And the cosmic law of justice, karma, is unavoidable. The lovers are punished by switching their lives. Jalan becomes immortal with all his memories about Ushna, and Ushna becomes mortal and has to suffer a cycle of samsara. And then it talks about Yeti, but I want to, do you have any more ideas, anything to add to what I have just read or some of your thoughts?
I saw some.
Sorry.
I saw some Zen Buddhist characteristics there. I recognize at the end of the story when he becomes immortal, and the last part when he appears in Japan. The first long text that is there. It's very similar for of the Bodhisattva vow. The Bodhisattva vow is essentially walking the earth until all beings stop suffering. So what he does, which is, well, you know, kind of extreme, but he walks the earth trying to end the suffering of people that is very ill. So that is kind of a bodhisattva mission, you know. And then when they end, he and Ashna end in those after drinking the elixir. They end in that place with all the statues of monks.
Yeah.
It is I saw it. There is a Zen koan, which is Buddha holds a flower, and it is the history of the koan is that Buddha is in front of the assembly of the monks, and all the statues for me are the assembly of the monks. And in this case, the one that holds the flower is Yeti, right? So he holds the flowers and he gives the flower to him, and then he dies. When he gave the flower to the other guy, I thought he was going to die because essentially, when you fulfill your mission, ending the suffering, or when you get enlightenment, you know, that is the end of your incarnations, the end of you go out from the round of samsara. So the giving the flower, the anecdote of the koan is that Buddha was in front of the assembly of the monks, and he held the flower, and the only one that smiled looking at him with the flower was Mahakasyapa. And Buddha, it was silent, everything was silent, and no one was talking. So they were like statues, you know. So, and then Mahakasyapa took the flower, and the Buddha said that the only one that had understood everything and could be free from samsara was, you know. So that was the two things that I saw. I liked the movie very much.
Yeah, but it's for me, and you can, like, I couldn't stop thinking about it, you know, because you can look at different plot patterns from different viewpoints. For example, if Ushna knew he's going to die by drinking the elixir, why did she do that? And then Yeti also told her, "Thank you for the collaboration, my child." So it looks like she kind of collaborated with him in helping him to move forward. So it's amazing. So I want to continue here with this article. There is not much left. And they talk about Yeti here, about this, and I find Yeti very, very interesting character in this movie. The other character that is very interesting and mysterious is Yeti. He is well known by people in the area, including Jolan's bandit band. He lives in a mountain cave, and we get a glimpse of it once, seeing potions, weapons, and chained people there. It is never explained who he is exactly, but one sure thing people know is that he likes to drink alcohol. He uses instruments belonging to the tradition of Chod, a spiritual practice in Tibetan Buddhism. Reality is caused by alcohol deficiency is a memorable Yeti quote. Though funny, now here she gives an explanation for this quote. So this quote is, again, I was thinking about it, and you can look at it from different points of view, because on the one hand, he is the incarnation of being sober, you know, like being kind of very, very balanced. But then he says something like that. Now, how come? So this woman who wrote this article says like that. And I'm not sure it's like, I can agree with that, but maybe. Reality is caused by alcohol deficiency is a memorable Yeti quote. Though funny, this quote has a deep meaning. In Tantric Buddhism, reality is like a big dream. Everything is an illusion, even samsara and nirvana. The only way to escape this illusion is to go beyond the concept of things, which is impossible using the rational mind and logic. Thus, Yeti's alcohol consumption is like a metaphor for this. Though at first we are led to think Yeti is hunting. Okay, so and then there is another thing. Now, so that's basically the metaphor for going beyond the mind and logic. Now, Eli, I think that you are the most knowledgeable about Buddhism here. So what do you think about it?
That is very, very Buddhist, going beyond mind and logic. I think that in Buddhism, everything that creates an illusion is a substance that creates illusions, and that
Eli, but we cannot hear you very well. Maybe you could speak closer to the microphone. Sometimes it gets louder, sometimes it gets lower. No, we cannot hear you. Right, guys? Can you hear her?
She's gone. It's gone completely quiet now, hasn't it? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't hear her either.
Yeah, Eli. So we cannot hear you, unfortunately. Okay. So yeah, maybe you can unmute yourself again. Now you're muted.
Okay.
Okay. Now it's okay.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. So you started telling.
Yeah, I was saying that anything that that travels your mind, that makes you that interferes between you and truth, is a substance that travels the mind. So so you are not supposed to get anything, alcohol or anything that keeps you from the reality as you see that, without any illusion, right? So when he talked about drinking alcohol, reality is like drinking alcohol. I think it has to be with the Buddhist teaching, or I see everything in a Buddhist light, because it is what I most know, right? So perhaps someone else here sees anything else, but for me is that everything is an illusion. So what we do when we cultivate our spirit, our mind, is to try to see reality as it is, see the truth as it is, because we are not born seeing reality as it is, because reality is like being drunk, right? Or what we see is like being drunk, right? So that would be my interpretation of that specific thing.
Yeah, I actually also tend to agree with you. So reality is caused by alcohol deficiency. So when you have no alcohol, you see the reality. But she takes it from another perspective, that alcohol is a metaphor for going beyond the mind. Like it's not a real substance. It's kind of going beyond the mind in order to realize the illusion, because which comes from Tantric Buddhism. But so that's one of the points where you can kind of think what the director meant by saying that. Now, Michael, I think that you wanted to say something before, and then we moved forward. So, what did you want to say?
Well, I was just going to say, in the Bible, I think St. Paul uses, the concept of drunkenness as, as a metaphor for sleep. I couldn't give you the exact quote, but something like that. So, Yeah, I don't know. Just I mean, just give me the quote. Just say the quote again.
It's he says there, like his hunters, like his guys, yeah, basically his servants went to chase Ushna and Jalan, but then they escaped, and then those servants returned to Yeti and said, "We lost them again. Can it be real, or is it real?" And then he says, "Reality is caused by alcohol deficiency. So let's drink." That was his quote. Now, for me, it's a kind of a koan. Like you just can look at it from different dimensions and kind of understand it more intuitively. But that was his quote there in the movie.
Well, I think that would make sense in the way that Ellie kind of described it. That if alcohol deficiency is a lack of drunkenness, a lack of sleepfulness, so he's I think it's that kind of concept of consciousness, and so it does kind of make sense in the context it was used.
But then he tells them, so let's drink. So my interpretation of that is one of his duties. There are certain influences that keep people under the illusion, like under the illusion, or keep people asleep. There are certain influences just for the world to exist. Certain amount of people, or most of the people, should be asleep, right? Like from from what Gurdjieff said, like to be the food for the moon or something like that, like to give their energies. So because Yeti represents here karma, but also he represents kind of general law that makes things function. So people should be asleep. He also has chained people in his cave, and he has alcohol. So those are tools, in my interpretation, is to kind of make things work and keep people asleep, unless some people really want to wake up.
Yeah, that would be my interpretation as well. Yeah, he kind of represented the general law, which is what you just said, isn't it? And as Pete alluded to earlier, it's a divine law in many ways, that it has it's not there to make us suffer and torture.
Yes.
It's for the better. It's for the greater good, the good of the universe.
Yes, it has many aspects. Like it has many aspects. Like on the one hand, we see those chained people there, but on the other hand, we see lots of compassion when he finally talks with Ushna and tells, "Your love is your sacrifice." Like we see lots of compassion in his eyes as well. So like it has lots of different aspects. So yeah. Okay, so I will continue, and it says, actually, though at first we are led to think Yeti is hunting Jalan for his crimes, we later discover he is actually after Ushna. At one point, he is referred as Demon Hunter, which gives another clue to what Ushna is. He disappears in the mountains after Ushna's death, but appears again in Japan as soon as Jalan and Sauri/Ushna reunite. He looks slightly different and speaks Japanese, but essentially has the same role to restore the balance of nature. The movement of the and then she connects it to the movement of Buddhism from India to Japan. So we'll skip it because it does not relate directly to the movie. And then
hey, Arik, I actually need to get going. I've got a 4 o'clock appointment, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here. But thank you so much. I'm just gonna be taking off, and just send me the link.
Yeah, okay, no problem. So yeah, we'll stay another like 10 minutes or something like that. So thank you, Pete. Thank you for coming. Thank you for attending.
All right. Blessings, everybody. We'll see you.
Yeah, see you. So thank you. Okay, and then towards the end, Yeti says, at the conclusion of the film, Yeti says, one who can turn conflict into collaboration is Buddha. Then he gives a flower to Jalan, and we see that Sauri/Ushna is disturbed by this. Okay, yeah, so when we actually look at it, she was disturbed there. Moments after that, the lovers run out and they're hit by the flower trap. When Sayuri/Ushna runs back to Yeti, he states, The balance has been restored. Thank you for your collaboration, my child. You promised me you will give us more time together, Sayuri responds. And then Yeti says, your sacrifice is your true love. Lovers are not eternal, but love is, he says with this deep compassion in his eyes. And then she says, my interpretation is that Sayuri / Ushna made a deal with Yeti that she would give in and help him restore nature's balance. She would return to where she came from, retrieve her immortality, and have to exist eternally with the memory of her true love. In return, she asked Yeti to help Jalan get into the Valley of Flower or pure land of Amida Buddha. So it's a kind of, Ellie, do you know what, are you familiar a little bit?
Yeah,
with
the land of
Buddhism?
Amida Buddha, yes, the land of Amida Buddha is one of the varieties of Buddhism. Nichiren Buddhism is very, very similar to Christianism. So you treat the Buddha as a god, and you have like a heaven. That is the land of the Amida Buddha, and you do things. But basically, the land of the Amida Buddha is Nirvana, or not being in samsara anymore, not reincarnating anymore. So not going back to suffering, right? It is enlightenment and nirvana. That is that.
Yeah. So basically, the person who wrote this article, she thinks that because Yeti was a kind of a bodhisattva or very, very advanced spiritual being, she basically made a contract, like Ushna basically collaborated with him in order to let Jalan die, and in hope for the better future, because he might reach better future in the presence of Yeti, in the presence of the bodhisattva. So and then she said, okay, and I will return and be a demon as I had been all the time. Yeah. So I think it makes sense. What do you think?
Yes, makes sense. Also, as you said, they were two beings from different realms.
Yeah.
You know, and in Tibetan Buddhism, different beings from different realms don't last long together. So they had this true love, but what he said, love is eternal, but your little love, no. So you go back to what you needed to do to your life, and the other one is liberated and balance is restored.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So and then she continues, that's why Sayuri asked Jalan to drink the elixir of immortality despite knowing that he would turn mortal again. Yeah, so she knew that he would turn mortal again, and yet she told him to drink it. Knowing what it meant, she was upset seeing Yeti give the symbolic flower to Jalan. Okay, and I'm just scrolling here. Yeah, so basically that. So basically that's it. So guys, so we have covered lots of aspects here in this movie, and I'm sure there are still lots more. Like it's my fourth time seeing this movie, and I all the time discover something new in it. So it's worth watching again. Like it's available on YouTube. Now, guys, do you want to add anything, like your general impression from the movie, or any other thoughts, or before we wrap it up?
Well, I felt I was playing catch up quite a lot, actually, but in a good way.
Yeah, like what do you mean playing catch up?
Because I don't know a lot about Buddhism. I know very little about it. But it doesn't matter necessarily, but it does. Listening to you and Ellie talking about it has really brought it more to life as well. So I'm looking for connections from stuff that I do know. Yeah, and they are there. You know, there I can sort of see those. I thought it was a really good movie. I want to watch it again now. You know, with another eye.
Yeah. So which traditions you do know? Which traditions are you coming from?
well, I was raised in the Christian Catholic Church, and and the only other or method, if you like, is through the sort of, I've read around loosely, but then the Gurdjieff work and Ouspensky and what have you, I've kind of delved into more. But that's it. That's my history.
I see. Okay, guys. Anyone else?
What can I just ask?
Say thank you for your choice.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Michael.
Well, I was just going to ask, what's the is there a particular significance to the Valley of the Flowers in Buddhism? Does it have an inner meaning? I think that, did Ellie say something about that? I'm not sure. Does it represent something, the Valley of the Flowers? Does that have meaning within Buddhism?
Well, there is one for me. It was an irony that a track of flowers actually killed him. For me, it was kind of some humor there, because the lotus flower is a very consistent symbol in Buddhism since the beginning of Buddhism until now. All the varieties of Buddhism have the lotus flower there, because the lotus flower supports everything and is beautiful in the middle of the mud, right? So that would be your life. So if you cultivate your mind and your spirit and your life, it doesn't matter where you are, you end being like a lotus flower. So that would be one meaning. And the specific meaning I saw of the flower that he gives there, for me, it was clearly a reference for that koan, for the koan that Buddha holds a flower.
Yeah. And according to this interpretation that I have just read, Valley of Flowers is a symbol for Pure Land in Buddhism, which is Pure Land, which is it like a paradise, like a Buddhist like how would you define, Ellie?
Nirvana. It's Nirvana. It's the end of the incarnations,
Thanks, Ellie. I was just curious because I can't remember. Maybe it's in Gnosis 2. I'm not sure. I can't remember now. But there's a Rav says something like he compares life to a valley of flowers, and he said under each flower is a snake.
I don't know.
He's using that metaphor that we live in a mixed world where there's kind of balance between good and evil, and I'm sure he calls it a valley of flowers. So I was just curious to whether we'd lifted that reference from Buddhism, so I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. Like Valley of Flowers is an actual place in the Himalayas. It's an actual place. Yeah, there is such a place. Okay. So Valley of Silence, I'm not sure, because it looks like a fantasy, like a place where you could only hear human voices but no other sounds. It looks like more like a fantasy to me. But the Valley of Flowers, it does exist. But here it's a metaphor. Here it's a metaphor for some kind of like when in the beginning, I think it was some kind of in the beginning when Ushna said to Jalan, like, let's go to the Valley of Flowers. I think it was just one more delusion upon other delusion, some kind of imagination, some kind of just maybe a little unhealthy imagination. Let's go, just like some kind of a delusion. But then towards the end, I think it was more in the direction of like Pure Land Buddhism. I don't know. Yeah, like it's another point to think about.
I'll see if I can find that quote, and I'll post it up on the movie section of the forum if I can find it. I might have got it wrong, to be honest. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Just
okay, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So I think we will be wrapping it up. So thank you very much for coming. And yeah, and you're amazing. Thank you so much. I have really, really enjoyed this event and talking with you and watching the movie and discussing. Thank you so much.
Thanks
a lot, Eric. Thanks for organizing that.